Hey everyone, it's Types, and today I'm going to be looking at Pokemon Card 151, a new set that is coming out in a little while, not just yet, but I'm taking a look at it now because, well, I think it's a good time. Also, I looked at Japanese list, and in Japan, Pokemon Card 151 is already out. It actually came out before Obsidian Flames. Obsidian Flames will be coming out very soon. 151 will be coming out relatively soon after that, and unsurprisingly, it features the original 151 Pokemon in the set as well. It's a mini set, but it's a decently large size. I don't remember how many cards it has. It's It's more than 151 because there are trainers, but it's a pretty big size mini set, and the cards are pretty good as well. I think this set's a little better than Obsidian Flames, but we'll take a look at it. Obsidian Flames is not bad by any means. I mean, it's not great, but it certainly has good cards. But 151 has good cards as well. So first of all, we have Venusaur EX. So this says once during your turn, obviously it's a stage 2 EX because of 2 prizes. It has 340 HP. That's pretty good. And also we see some of these cards in English, some of them are not. So that's why we're looking at Justin Basil, where there are the translations of, I'm assuming, all the cards. So Tranquil Flower, once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active, and we heal 60 from one of your Pokemon. Also, sorry if I sound a little sick. I am, but I'm not feeling awful. So hopefully my voice doesn't sound awful either. But yeah, you can heal 60 from one of your Pokemon. That's pretty solid, right? You want to be able to heal. And you can switch around these Pokemon. It's kind of like Celebi VMAX, but it's more. That being said, it's like a stage 2, and you're looking to set up multiple. So I don't think this is that good. Your attack 150, Poison and Confusion. It's not great. This isn't like an awful card, but I don't think it's good enough to see play, unfortunately. It's another all right, but still a bit underwhelming grass Pokemon. And then we see this Charizard EX. This one's interesting. So we actually are seeing another Charizard EX in not in 151. We are seeing one in 151. We're also seeing one in Obsidian Flames. And there's another Charizard from Pokemon Go that doubles energy attached, which is important for this one. I personally think the Charizard from Obsidian Flames is noticeably better than this Charizard. It allows you to set up more consistently, so that's pretty important. But then this Charizard here is interesting for 4 fire. If you just do 330 and discard 3 from this Pokemon. Also, you can do 60, and then 160 if you have damage counters on you, which you can get on with Magma Basin, which isn't too bad. I think the second attack's the one you're looking at here, but you're definitely going to need at least one of the other Charizards to set up, which is a bit awkward. Having multiple stage 2s, you have a lot of HP, but then discarding all the energy is, again, not ideal. You can get it back, but I don't know. It seems a little clunky. I don't think this is awful by any means, but it's nothing like insane either because it's high damage, very good, will pretty much one shot anything, but you're gonna struggle to get it off a lot of the time. I think it could be a tech in other Charizard based decks, but it's not like a one that I highly recommend as like a super strong Pokemon because of its inconsistency. Now we're going to Blastoise EX. I think this is the best of the starters. But it's around the same level as Charizard. It takes 30 less from attacks and has 330 HP. Do they all have 330? No, Venusaur had 340. But anyway, so Blastoise here has 330. And it takes 30 less, so very tanky, very hard to one-shot. Twin Cannon's 140 times the number of energy. I believe you discard up to 2 basic water from your hand, 140 for each Pokemon, each water energy discarded. So that will allow you to do 280 if you discard 2 waters, which is not that bad. You have Chin Pow to get them if you want, or other things as well. It's not that big of a deal. You can accelerate to this with a number of things. It would be better if it was a V, so you could use Melanie. But in my opinion, this reminds me a lot of Ice Rider. It's a bit awkward. You might want to play Excalibur in here as well. It could be Chin Pow, Excalibur, Blastoise, or just Palkia to power it up as well. I think it's pretty solid. It's a very strong Pokemon. 280 is a nice number to hit. It's not like, obviously, you could do more. That would be nice, but 280 is pretty good because it allows you to one-shot most V-Stars and Stage 1 EXs. So that's really nice. Of course, you will be short on most VMAXs, pretty much all the VMAXs and Stage 2 EXs. You could put a choice build on to one-shot the certain VMAXs, notably Mew VMAX, which is fine, or like a... we could put on Cleansing Gloves to one-shot both Mew and Gardevoir, which is fine again. I think Blastoise doesn't even need that. It's a very strong Pokemon, but I don't know if it competes with the other EXs. You're looking at stuff like Gardevoir, or other stage 2s like Gardevoir, Excalibur. They're kind of different, but I think Blastoise is a little weaker than those, but it's still pretty strong. I think it's the best of the 3 looked at because it's more consistent than Charizard. but it's not the most consistent thing in the world either. Like, you might need Baxcalibur, and if you have to play Baxcalibur and Blastoise, then things get pretty awkward, I think. But if you can avoid that, that's nice. Next, we have Butterfree, and I'm pretty sure none of the pre-evolutions are that interesting. If there are, I'll take a look. This is not good. There's like a Mind Disruption card. Yeah, so it like shuffles one of your opponent's bench by going to their deck, but like I don't know, that doesn't seem very useful because like I think the Pokemon that you want to get is in the active. There are times when you could like rope and then annoy your opponent, and it's usable. I think this is playable in orbital control, but it removes the Butterfree as well, which is not ideal. You can use it as like a hit and run, but it's a stage 2. That's not what you want to use for hit and run when it goes out of the board. Yeah, it doesn't remove it either. It shuffles it into their deck so they can draw it back again. This Kakuna is immune to effects of attacks, which is kind of cool. But then we see it's just against like Sableye. Then Beedrill here. Oh, this one's kind of interesting. If you have no cards in hand, you do 150 for 2 colorless. 130 if you have a double turbo. And if your opponent's active is now paralyzed and poisoned. That's actually very strong. That being said, I don't know where you'd play this because it's like kind of awkward. I don't think it's enough to carry itself. But I definitely like it. It's cool, but it's awkward as well. So I think it's just not great. But you couldn't. It has like natural synergy with Peony, and Togekiss as well from Obsidian Flames, which draws after the end of your turn. I don't hate this Beedrill, but it's probably not good enough. We'll see though. Then we have Pidgey. Oh, this Pidgey is kind of interesting. It's Call for Family, which allows you to search for other basics. It's nice with the new Pidgeot EX we're getting. This Pidgeot EX is not, or this regular Pidgeot is not that good though. 150 on a coin flip if it's heads. It's fly. If you know fly, you either do damage and you're immune, or you don't do any damage. But it's not very consistent, which is problematic. Free retreat's fine, but yeah. This Eradicate here says, oh, this is strong 30 and 30 more for each damage count on your opponent's active. Okay, that's very strong. It's 2 colors. This is a very strong Pokemon in Zoroark box, I think. I'm trying to think exactly how you'd use it, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but you can hit really high amounts of damage if you hit them for like 80. You're pretty much one-shotting. Not everything, but yeah, you're pretty much one-shotting everything if you hit them for 80 first and then hit them with Eradicate. And I can't think of exactly what that would be. This isn't like the worst thing in Lost Zone. I'm sure it's useful in other decks as well. Also, Rattata's HP is very low. Okay, Spearow now. I can evolve turn 1 going second. Oh, and this is interesting. Okay, then this Fearow. I'm looking at this just in the case of standard. I believe this one's good for GLC, but we'll take a look at that some other time. Search deck for up to 3 cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck, or 50. For your treat as well, this Fearow is okay. It's decent. It's almost acts like a basic. Turn 1 going second, which is nice. That being said, it's not a basic. It's 2 pieces, so it's a little awkward. I think searching for 3 turn 1 going second's pretty good, and 50 turn 1 going second's fine as well. It's not amazing, but it's okay. For a tree, I don't hate this Pokemon, but we see like the Clef and the Bonsly from Obsidian Flames, and those are just way easier to do. They have less HP, obviously. They have 30, but they have free retreat and a free attack as well, so I feel like they fill the role a little better. A Clef, especially for setup, and if you want to do damage, Bonsly's fine, because Confusion's actually very nice. So yeah, I don't think this Fear is that good. I think it's an interesting concept, but it'll come up a little short. Ekans. Okay, now we come to this Arbok EX, which I actually saw. I did some deck overviews. I looked at PokemonCard.io and saw some decks, and this Arbok was one of them, and I didn't remember what it did. So it does 170, and then they can't retreat, or 150 and discard 2 from their hand. It's interesting, but it's a lot of energy, and it's a bit awkward to use. Certainly, Dark type has Dark Patch, which is good. An item type, an item card with energy acceleration is good. Same thing as well. Also, we said Dark Patch in the past, Aqua Patch in the past. Very strong cards, I think. I don't know if Aqua Patch was that good, but I know Dark Patch and Metal Saucer are good. But I don't know. I think this Arbok's interesting. But and like the disruption's okay, but they choose the cards as well. The discard, I think with Iono, Arbok's interesting, but I'm trying to think about the draw engines right now, and a lot of the draw engines are just like on board. So I think Arbok won't be good enough, but it's an interesting concept. I'm trying to think of Dark Zoroark's not really a thing either, so you can't like. I mean, if it was, this would fit in, but it's not really a thing. So I think this Arbok's okay. I think it's a very solid Pokemon. but I think it still comes up short. So I'd say it's probably like around the same level as like the Charizard. It's good, but not quite good enough. But could be good enough, right? I wouldn't be like completely shocked if this Arbok saw play. I don't think it'll be like amazing. No. This Raichu is electrical grounding. I believe Lantern had this. It's like EXP share. If a Pokemon is scared, you move energy to it. And a 180 and a 52 itself. This isn't awful. I don't hate this. I'm trying to think though. Like Flaffy recovers energy, and you can like do what you want with it. So Raichu goes down to 70 HP after it attacks. You can attack twice though. It's not like awful by any means. Same HP and self damage as Articuno, no, I think Articuno might have had less HP, but around the same amount. No, maybe it was the same. Anyways, you knock yourself in 3 attacks, but you're pretty low. You could use some type of healing card, but more importantly, like 1 isn't solid number, but no, only moves lightning energy. I could use this in Zoroark as well. That's not awful. I'm trying to think of the other Lightning Zoroark attackers you have, and obviously you have Electivire, which is good, but it's very different. It's a spread attacker. So you do have Kilowatt Troll. I know some people play, and then there's some other Raichus, but this Raichu could be good. I think it kind of fulfills the role that other Zoroark attackers don't have. So this is okay. Lightning weakness is okay to hit right now. It's pretty good. Obviously, it's weakness on a Lugia, but Lugia's not like the best deck right now. So it does have it's going to get a little better with Obsidian Flames, but still, I don't think Raichu's like that. It's a consideration in Zoroark, and that's about it. Sandshrew now. Trainer cards in your opponent's discard pile can't be put into their deck by an effect of your opponent's item or supporters. What? Okay. That's weird. This is like into their deck. So it like stops Palpad and what else does it stop? I can't think of anything else. Silene, I guess, sorta. But not usually. Usually people recover. It stops Silene like Pal. It's like a control counter, I guess. It stops Palpad. I mean, it's not like awful. I mean, it's useful sometimes, but I think it's like a very specific. So let's see if the Sandslash is any good. It's not. Oh wait, no, it's okay. So if it's 80, if they have any damage counters on them, it does 180, which is okay. But like usually 180 is the number you want for like a Zoroark attacker to hit for a weakness. Also 30, and they can't retreat isn't awful. It could be useful. It's actually very good against in the Zoroark like control style list because you can trap something in the active. Like you can trap. I don't believe you can trap Comfy, but you can trap Mew in the active with this, and then you stick on the pot helmet, I believe it is, which will just stop them from doing any damage to you, and then you can trap Mew, which is an interesting concept. I don't hate that because they resist you, so you'll actually be doing 0 damage, which is really interesting, but not like ideal. It's okay, but there are other things that can do that as well. Sandslash then does I just don't like if there's Glenn Zigzagoon, I say this could be okay in Zoroark. But it's an okay finish. I'd rather just use like Titan. Titan's better. It hits harder. And if you're hitting for a weakness, I think there's other good thing. There's the Hisuian Arcanine as well, which is good for hitting weakness. This isn't great. Okay, Nitto. We got the Nitto Queen now. This one's interesting, but I think it's bad. So, so it's immune to basics for Dark Colors next turn. I mean, this is okay. We've seen it in the past and it was good, but I don't think it's good here. Right now, basics aren't that good. Some are okay, but like Lost Zone, I guess it's good against Lost Zone, and it's good against. It's okay against Brino. It's okay against Chin-Pao, but it probably isn't going to be like winning games because they have evolutions and will eventually get through them. Lunchard's not awful. 160 for 3. It uses like a reversal type thing, I guess. And as I said, you have Dark Patch as well, so that's fine. Also the set is, which makes sense. It's in like order of Pokédex number as opposed to type, which is fine. It's different, but it makes sense. And Nidoking. So if you have Nitto Queen in play, ignore like you attack for free. I was gonna say you can use tools I believe if there were tools that had attacks, you could use those for free as well. But Nidoking doesn't have any tools that I can use that have attacks on them, as far as I know. Because there are the V-Star powers, which I can't use. There's only one attack anyway. And then there's the the scrolls, which are for single strike and map strike, which Nidoking also can't use. So instead, you can just use 190 in poison, which isn't like that good. It's not awful, but it's not great. I wouldn't say setting up 2 stage 2s to attack for free is that good. Yeah, I don't think this Nidoking is very good. You could do like a toolbox, but at that point you're playing energies anyway, and it's kind of weird. Clefairy, this one searches for other Clefairies, which is interesting. Then this Clefable, this one's interesting. It's a very solid inclusion in the Clefairy deck where you just do a bunch of damage by accelerating a bunch of energies. And then it has its its attack here 150, and its effect says if your opponent's knocked out, you take 2 or an extra prize. So if it's a single prize, it's 2 prizes. This is okay, but it's not like amazing. You'd rather just be killing them in the first place. It's kind of making up for lost time, but it's not an awful card. I'm sure you include it in the Clefairy deck, but it's not like I don't know. I don't think it's an amazing card. Some people are talking about it in like Shadow Rider or like I don't know. I've heard a bunch of talk of this card, but I don't think it's that good. Ninetales EX. Yeah, this seems. Oh, okay. So if you have the same amount of cards in your hand as your opponent, which you can do through, or you can do with Judge Guaranteed. You can lower your hand. Obviously, you can lower your own hand size by playing cards. You can lower your opponent's hand by playing Iono. Like Roxanne might get you there, but I don't know. It's just kind of sketchy. Oh, there's some other things. There's Zissou. There's I think Copycat's in format. But anyways, Ninetales 80. So it does 220, which is solid. It's like a decent number to hit, but there are some better Pokemon. There's some like basics that hit 220. They're for 3 energy, but I don't know. I think this Ninetales isn't particularly good. I suppose it's okay in Fire Zoroark. And Fire Zoroark's like an okay way to play Zoroark. I've played it. It's fun. And this is like another attacker. Previously, you like only had Arcanine, which was kind of sketchy because you need a bunch of energy. But yeah, I think Ninetales EX is a solid inclusion in that deck, but it's not super consistent because you really need to lower your opponent's hand size because you're not getting to big hands with Fire Zoroark. Jigglypuff, not great. Wigglytuff EX is super good though. And I believe Let's All Rollout also has a Jigglypuff, so you can do a Let's All Rollout deck. Anyways, Wigglytuff EX is so good. If it has any special energy, which obviously you'd want, it gets 100 HP more and it's colorless. So, yeah, that's like insane. I think this card's crazy. So it like that's so much. That's 350 HP. People are talking about Oinkalon like it was the tankiest thing ever. For some reason, it wasn't particularly tanky. It had like high 200s. I think it was like 260 or 270. But it wasn't that tanky. But with Wigglytuff, you're super tanky. And it's 90, and then if you play a supporter this turn, you do 90 more. The issue is getting the energy on. You're going to do a double turbo, so that'll be, assuming you're playing a supporter, that'll be 160, which is solid. It's a good amount of damage to be hitting, but also you'd rather be doing more. But I think it should be good enough when you're like never getting knocked out. As a stage 1 EX, this is like it's around as tanky as Blastoise EX or like Venusaur EX, but that's a stage 1, right? So I think it's relatively payable to attack with. You probably want a Raihan and then like double turbo, or you could do like gift energy. You could even use there's the other Wigglytuff which accelerates therapeutic energy, so you can use that. That's not bad at all. I think this Wigglytuff is going to be absolutely insane. I'm hyping up like it's the best thing ever. I think it's the best card we've seen so far. I don't think it's like completely broken, but I think it's very strong. I think it will be like a meta deck. I think it's quite good. It's like Oinkalone, but in my opinion, just better. Next, we have Zubat. Once on your turn, if this is in the active, your opponent may reveal their hand. That's kind of weird. I don't like despise it, but I despise the 40 HP. That doesn't seem good for it. Golbat, 40 snipe. That's fine, I guess. This is the Gloom and Vileplume, which are really interesting. When you evolve into the Gloom, you look at the top 3 and accelerate any number of basic energy you find there to your Pokemon anyway, like in Vileplume. You look at the top, I believe, 8, and accelerate any number of basic you find there to your Pokemon anyway you like. So this is obviously a solid chunk of energy acceleration, but it's on like evolution lines, so it's kind of slow. I've heard talk this with Rayquaza. Of course, this could kind of be like a Miraidon partner. I think it's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. It's not consistent. There are a few ways to kind of sort of guarantee it, but nothing amazing. So I think Gloom's interesting in Vileplume. I don't think they're gonna see like a lot of play, but I think there's something fun to try out. They're just inconsistent. There's also Blossom that wants energy, and they'll definitely play that Gloom because it's just very solid. Um, but yeah, I don't think this Vileplume's like insane. But Vileplume's had a lot of broken cards, so I'm happy it's getting toned down right now. Um, okay, this is. Ooh, okay, so Parasect. Flip 2 coins for each head. Search for a grass Pokemon put onto your bench. That's really interesting because you can get any grass Pokemon. That being said, grass obviously isn't good, so like getting grass Pokemon isn't particularly useful right now. You could grab like Venusaur EX or something, which is whatever. Yeah, we got Parasect. It's kind of cool. I feel like I could just be search for 2 grass Pokemon, put them onto your bench, and that would have been balanced and like pretty solid. Right now, I think it's too weak because you could just fail a coin flip and be sad. Venomoth is this one's so good. Okay, I remember this one. This one is very good as well. Very scary. Amazing Zoroark card as well as like Grass Zoroark. Grass Zoroark isn't, or no, this is good in Zoroark, aka Luminous Zoroark. And so Venomoth, it does 30 for 1 grass, and your opponent's active is now confused, and then they can't play any items next turn. This is brutal. Some people are like, nah, this isn't that bad. No, this is insane. We've seen item lock in the past. It does like 10 for like 1 item lock, and it's like, that was good. This is insane. When I was talking about like busted Vileplumes, I was talking about item lock. This is so good. Confusion plus item lock is super awkward to have to deal with. This is very good. I think Venomoth is a very strong card that will 100% see good play because you have item lock and you have confusion, and you hit like 30. 30 is not awful by any means. It's not great, right? But we've seen item lock is like 10 or like nothing, right? As far as I know, this is the only item lock in the format. I could be forgetting something, but Venomoth is very good. I think this is the best card we've seen so far. Venomoth and Wigglytuff, but I think Venomoth is better. Venomoth is very good. Especially in Zoroark. It could be the card to get Luminous Zoroark, aka Zoroark, onto the map. And it's cool. Okay, now you have Dugtrio. Oh, that's not very good. Okay, on a coin flip, you Gust. That's okay. Like, you'd use that. That's a solid attack. Not great, but like something that, if you have it, it's cool. So Persian, once during your turn, you search check for Giovanni's Charisma card, reveal and put into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Okay, that card's really good. We'll get to that later. I don't know if you actually play this Persian. I believe it's like an acceleration disruption supporter, which is cool, but it's not a draw supporter, so you probably don't play this Persian. But fun theming here. Psyduck. This one, Overthink. During your opponent's next turn, treat the result of all coin flips as tails. This is kind of like not good right now, but it's a funny tech. I don't know when you'd use this, but it's funny. Oh, and then Aquatic Rescue, put up to 4 Pokemon for you to just get into your hand. I feel like with Miriam, this isn't super useful. Like, Miriam's just so insane. But, like, Golduck's an interesting inclusion, but it's not that good. Like, I don't know why you'd need 4 Pokemon back in your deck or into your hand. Like, getting 2 is fine. But, like, it's a stage 1 attack. Like, you'd rather, like, as an ability, this could be played, but not as an attack. Mankey and Primeape. It needs to be confused to attack. That's really bad because you could just fail confusion. That's not good. This Primeape is definitely not good. There's some good Primates in the format as well, or at least 1 good Primeape. I think the others are okay as well. Arcanine. I thought it was 3. It's 4. So 4, you do 240. Your first strike accelerates, but you're probably gonna die. I think you'd play Arcanine EX over this pretty much any time because it hits a little harder and it's cheaper. So you could use Reversal plus like Energy Acceleration from Magnemite or Raihan, which is okay, but I don't know, maybe in some Zoroark list, but probably not. I think it doesn't make too much sense. Now we have Poliwhirl and Poliwrath. That's not great. It's some like coin flip stuff, but inconsistent and not that good. Okay, this Kadabra. Oh no, so this is like the crazy card from the set. That's just weird. It's very crazy. It attacks from the bench. First of all, you do Mind Jack, 90 and 30 more for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. This is not an awful attack. 310 HP is a little low. You do have resistance, which is cool. But you do this can hit pretty hard, right? If they have a full bench, 150, and that's going to be it's 270, right? So I don't think I did the math right. That's what 240. Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking there. So 240 is pretty good. It's not like the best amount of damage, but it's certainly passable. And you won't always be hitting that, but you'll sometimes be hitting that. And even when you're not, like 210's okay. So I think it's an interesting card. For that attack, you can use like double turbo. I guess you'll be hitting 240, drop down to 220 is pretty all right with a double turbo. But then you see for 2 psychic 120, and you can use this attack from the bench, which is just crazy. The thing is, like, I don't know what you pair this with. I guess you pair it with Tinglu. That's probably the best Pokemon to leave in the active right now, in my opinion. It has high HP, and it also has, it's ability lock. It's a very good Pokemon right now. I know there are a few that some other people like Mimikyu's fine. I think that's cool. And also a psychic attacker is basic. So you can actually attack with it. And some people like Spiritomb, not to hide behind, but on your bench, as well as like Klefki. And Polion V is okay as well. Klefki is probably better. But I'd say I like Tinglu more than Klefki, but obviously it depends what you're up against. Klefki's basic ability lock turns off your own basics as well. Okay, Machoke. I thought that was a good Machoke, but oh no, some people are talking about this Machop, yeah, and it's mill 1 for 1, which is okay, but like it's 1 fighting. I guess you can play this in Ditto Luminous control, which is kind of all right, but I don't think it's that good. Machamp, like some people like it, but actually I don't know. I like Ditto Luminous control, but I haven't played it too much. Machamp, Guts. Oh, on a coin flip, it doesn't get KO'd. That's not fun to play against. It's mostly just annoying though. So yeah. Also the whole line's like mill, which is kind of weird. But it's not like a lot of mill. So yeah, this Machamp seems not fun to play against. You could build a Machamp deck with the other Machamp as well, which will not be fun to play against. But I think it's an interesting concept as like a deck to play. The other Machamp gets like 300 HP when it's like I think like halfway through the game or something. It's very strong. And then let's see, Victory Bell. 120, and then at the end of your opponent's next turn, it does 12 or it does 120 again. I mean, this is kind of weird. Like they'll just like retreat or switch. It's not amazing. Then we see Tentacruel 90 flip until you get tails. So it's 90 for each heads. This isn't like very consistent, so that's not good. If the first flip is tails, your opponent's active is now confused. I mean, you get some payoff. Also, this like Tentacruel is so questionable. Maybe I'm just weird, but yeah. Okay, Geodude with Stiffen. Let's move on. So Golem EX is interesting. It does 50 for 1 fighting. Also, first of all, it does 180 for 3, which is okay, but 50 for 1 fighting. During your next turn, if this Pokemon attacks by this Pokemon, do 120 more to your opponent's active. I don't know. That's okay. It allows your both attacks to be very strong, but I don't know. I think it's an interesting attack. You can like Cheryl and stuff, but like doing 170 every turn is pretty solid with Cheryl, but I think it's a little clunky. I think this one's pretty all right. If I had to give it a tier, I'd put in like a B tier. Okay, now we have, I don't know why I just decided to do a tier for that one, but it made sense. Rapidash is not 90 hit and run. It's like okay, but as I said earlier, with like Alakazam, there's not great hit and run targets. Or things to leave in the active. Now, this Slowbro is not great. It does 160 for 3. It's just an okay. It's like an okay. If it evolves this turn, it doesn't do anything, but you can just Zoroark into play. As a Zoroark, like reversal attacker, it's okay. I made a whole tier list, and it's not as good as Ceruledge, so it's not great. I think this isn't like a bad Pokemon, but compared to Ceruledge, it's just kind of worse in my opinion. Ceruledge, like I suppose if you're against, I don't know. I can't really think of an example where Ceruledge would be worse than Slowbro. It does more. It does 200 to V's and EXs, 100 otherwise. Magnemite, Magneton. Oh, recover 2 items to your discard into your hand. We've seen this so many times. This Magneton is fine, I suppose. I don't know which is the best. It depends what you're running. Farfetch, draw 2 or 30 for 1. This is okay. This is like the definition of a theme deck Pokemon. It's a very solid theme deck Pokemon, but there aren't theme decks, so it's not good. Dodrio, also with the Farfetch, like it's outclassed by other things, like Clef, I'd say. Dodrio, put damage counter on this, and then you draw a card. This is actually very good. There are a number of decks that want damage counters on your bench. Also, the art's funny, but yeah, you want to damage your bench with like Hisu and Zoroark if you start. I think this will put that deck back on the map. And then you do 10 and then 30 more for each damage counter on this Pokemon, which is just like Spiritomb. So you can't buff the HP. But if you have 9 damage counters on you, you're going to be hitting 280, which is like very good. I think obviously then you're very vulnerable. So this is kind of scary, but I don't know. I think this Dojo is an interesting and powerful card. And one that you want to keep out. I think this is a very solid engine card. It's not a great engine in terms of drawing, but then it also provides a backup attacker. I don't know exactly what would be good in other than decks that want damage on the bench. It's amazing in those decks, but I think it's cool in some other decks. But we'll see. Maybe I'm overhyping it, but it's a very usable attacker because it's only one colorless, right? So that's nice. And it's just good to have in play. Dugong, 50 to 2, it's okay, but not amazing. Like, you'd rather use Electivire, which is 50 to all of them. It is more energy, but you're probably using it with Reversal anyway. Now we have Mach, 30 next turn. Defending Pokemon has attacks cost 1 more and retreats 1 more. We've seen this before. It's not great. Shelter and Cloyster, 80 next turn. This Pokemon takes 80 less. It's moderately tanky, which is kind of cool. I don't think it's strong enough. Haunter. Oh, I saw this one. This one's kind of weird. So once in your turn when you play it, you may put a support from your opponent's discard into their hand. This is like Versus Seeker, but for your opponent, which is kind of bad. And then the main use of this is to do Poltergeist. Your opponent reveals their hand 50 for each trainer you find there. Also 110, put 3 on your opponent's bench you like, for 2, which is okay. I think Poltergeist is an interesting attack, but also its arts are really funky. I like it. But yeah, I think this Haunter is kind of silly because you don't really want to be giving your opponent supporters. Those are usually very good. And Gengar, I don't think is strong enough. And there are some other very good Gengars as well, which is not a good thing for it in this case. Onyx. Ooh, okay. So discard the top 5 cards of your deck. It does 80 for each card Pokemon you discarded this way with a tree cost of exactly 4. I don't really know. This seems bad. It's not like the worst thing in the world, but it's awkward to pay, and it's just problematic when you discard the cards from your top of your deck. Those tend to not end well, but it's a funny YouTube video deck. When you evolve this, you may make your opponent's active asleep. That's okay. I don't hate this, but sleep's not the most powerful special condition, certainly. This one, that's not good. Those are just generic attacks. 220 for 4 is okay, but again, it's a Titan better. Let's see. That's not good. Okay, this Electrode's good though. Boom Boom Chain. Anything bad for my favorite Blackhead Speed song. Before doing damage, just get any number of Pokemon tools from your Pokemon. There's 40 for each card discarded in this way. So you can definitely have, you put a couple of Honchkos in play. This is very strong. I like this more than Pachirisu. Pachiri's good, but it's multiple energies, so that's a bit awkward. I think Electrode's pretty cool. I think this card's okay. Some people are really hyping it up, but I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's an okay Pokemon. Executor, not great. If you want to slap a ton of energy on a Pokemon, it's okay, but I guess Charm Executor is something that you could play, but the stage speed is not that high. The damage output's not insane, so it's an okay-ish rogue deck, I guess. Okay, this Cubone's really interesting. The attacks to your Marowak do 30 more to your opponent's active. Currently, there is not a particularly good Marowak in format. This new Marowak is kind of interesting. 30 and 30 to your opponent's bench. This Cubone does more to the active. You can be hitting. You can theoretically get 4 Cubes in play in Marowaks using Zoroark. Do 150 to the active, 30 to one of the bench. That's a good attack for one fighting on a stage 1. It's not insane though. It's good, but it's not even that broken. You need 4 Cubones and a Marowak with a Zoroark. So it's pretty awkward. This other one, but if you're hitting 90 and 30 to the bench, that's okay, but it's still not great. And then Boundless Power 120 and can't attack next turn. So it's getting up to 240, I suppose. I think this Marowak's okay. The Cubone's really interesting, but we'll see if there's ever a good enough Marowak. I think this one's only okay, but I think it's kind of playable. It's one that seems really fun as well. Hitmonlee. Let's see. So it does 10 to each opponent's Pokemon for 1 fighting. That's not bad, but it's not. You'd like to be hitting more. There are things to 20 to each. And Hitmonlee. And it does 100 for 3, so that's fine. It's not that good though. Hitmonchan, counterattack if it's damage, you do 30 to the defending, and then 60 next turn you do 120. But it's 2 fighting. You're just gonna die. Yeah, these aren't that good. Lick a Tongue. 70 next turn. The defending Pokemon can't attack. This isn't awful. It's awkward to pay though. Theoretically, this Pokemon is a really powerful one, but a lot of people play like a lot of Switch, so I think in actuality it's not quite good enough. Coughing, nothing great there. Wheezing. Oh, this one. If it's knocked out, you flip coin. If heads of the defending Pokemon or the one that attacked and knocked out is knocked out as well. And 50 and 10 teach your opponent's bench Pokemon. The issue is with like double turbo. This is just unusable because it does no bench damage and 30 to the active. But I think this Wheezing is interesting. The ability is super solid. I was talking to someone about it, and they said that this card's like insane. I don't think it's insane, but it's gonna be annoying and like kind of toxic. I think the attacks just pretty underwhelming. But aside from that, I think it's an okay Pokemon. You could pair with like Medicham as well. So maybe Dark Box will come back with this Wheezing. Who knows? Rhyhorn, and then Rhydon. Okay, if you put Giovanni's Charisma from your hand during this turn, it does 140 more. That's only 180. Like, I don't know. It's not awful. We'll talk about Giovanni's Charisma later. I think it's a very good card, but I don't think this Rhydon's that good. Chansey, if you took this one. If you took this as a face down prize and your bench isn't full, before you put it in your hand, you may put it onto your bench and flip a card. And if heads, take one more prize card. So you put it on the bench before you decide if you take the prize. Theoretically, this is very good with like Peonia. But in actuality, like this is so janky. I really have no idea how I feel about this. I feel like this card's super good. I think this card's like very good. We saw like Jirachi Amazing Rare, which was pretty good. It wasn't like broken, but you could play like a bunch of Chansey. But then they're just gonna clog your bench. So could you play this with Serena V to discard your bench? Maybe. With Scoop of Net, this would be good. I think with Scoop of Net, this would be insanely good. I think right now, it's not great. But Chansey is interesting. I find this one really interesting. But I don't know if we're going to... It's so interesting. It's so intriguing. It's so toxic, too. Like, this one just seems not fun. But this Chansey I think this Chansey is all right. Tangela. If you played Erica's Invitation, it does 70 for 1. That's not bad. It does not have synergy with Erica's Invitation, though. You'll see Erica's Invitation is an okay card, but no synergy here. Kangaskhan EX, this is one that's been getting a lot of hype as well for some reason, in Japan, I know at least. Draw 3 for 1 is okay. It's not, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's something you could use, certainly. And you would definitely use Incessant Punching then for 3 colorless, so double turbo. It does 100 times the number of heads you flip 4 coins. So on average, you'll be doing 200, maybe 180 if you have a double turbo. This just seems so inconsistent. I don't know why people are hyping this one up so much. I don't think it's that good. People are playing it like Lugia as well. It's very inconsistent, which I don't like. Its damage output is solid, and it can come in clutch. Like if you flip 3 heads, 300 is just insane. If you flip 1 head, 100 or 80 is just really disappointing. So I don't know how I feel about this one, but it's an interesting card. Seadra, let's see. Oh, whoa. They need to flip double heads when they attack to succeed. That's kind of annoying. And that doesn't evolve in this gen. So, yeah. Not the greatest card ever, but an annoying one, I imagine. Goldeen. Oh, that's not good. Seeking. Oh, this is a swim freely Pokemon. So you can accelerate to it with I think it's Finneon or something. I don't know. You can accelerate a bunch of water energy. And then there's 60 and then 30 more for each water attached to it. I think this is a solid addition to the swim freely, but I think it's worse than the Dugong. I believe the Dugong has a higher multiplier, so I think that's better, but it's an okay consideration. Staryu. Oh, this Starmie's insane. I saw this one. Once you turn, you put 2 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon, and then you discard the Starmie. This is a very good Pokemon with Mariam, I think. I think it's also play in just Mariam decks. I think it's a very good one. It's good with Medicham. It's good with a number of things. It can be used in the active as well, so it's like a pseudo pivot. I think the Starmie is super good. I'm really looking forward to this one, and it's very good. Of course, discarding is awkward, but you can definitely get it back. You can also use Rescue Carrier. Mr. Mime, if it's in the active, and both active have the both active Pokemon have the same number of energy attached as a Mew to damage. Um, and then you have like put 3 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon, and we like. I don't know. This seems highly questionable. Theoretically, it's good, but in the current meta, I think it's kind of useless because people can just control the amount of energy they put in their Pokemon, and also there are a number of ways to hit through walls. So I think this Mr. Item's interesting, but I don't think now is the right time for it. Scyther, that's not good. So yeah, I don't know why that's like that. That's very underwhelming. Jinx EX with this curse start. Hard Stop and Kiss if your opponent's active is asleep, it's knocked out, and then it does 120 for okay, so that's 3 energy. That's expensive, but there's the other one that Hypno, I think, which just puts them to sleep, which is really good together. But again, it's awkward. Like I don't know how you get the energy on. You could use Raihan Double Turbo, which is solid, but you can't always use that. So I think this Jinx is interesting. But the energy situation is a little awkward. I think this card could be very good as well. But there are some things that stop effective attacks. So I think Jinx is like a fun deck, but I don't think it's a super strong deck. Electabuzz, if Magma's on your bench, you do 50. This is okay. And then Magmar, if Electabuzz is on your bench, you do 160. So these aren't great Pokemon, but there are evolutions that do something similar. I think there's the pre-evolutions you will play because they're all right, certainly. They're not amazing, but they're cards you can play it to be able to hit a solid chunk of damage. You got something to Pinsir. If you have more prize remaining in their opponent, you do 180. So the perfect reversal attacker, except it's not an evolution. So yeah, I think this Pinsir is bad. Like if you're playing, it might be okay in Lost Zone Giratina, but I'm not sure if it's better than Tropius. It's more expensive than Tropius, so I don't love it. This Tauros is kind of interesting. 30 and 10 more for each damage count on this Pokemon, and you can search for a basic. This is like a theme deck Pokemon, but it's not great. So straws. Okay, so when you evolve this, you have to mill 5 from your deck, which isn't good. And then 4 200 discard and energy. Yeah, this Gyarados is not good. It's like you can get around with the Zoroark, but its attack cost is high, and its damage output isn't high enough to justify that. Lapras, search for a Pokemon. This is okay, but not that good. Okay, this Ditto is apparently really good. It's seeing so much play in Japan. Oh, and this art is so good, too. I think this art's really funny. A bit out of place, but it's really good. This Pokemon ability can only be used if this Pokemon is in the active and only on your first turn. Search deck for a basic Pokemon except Ditto, and then discard this Pokemon and all cards attached, and put that Pokemon in its place. This is just more consistency turn 1 if you start it. People are really liking this. I don't know. I think it's solid. I don't hate it by any means. I think it's very good in Lost Zone because you can get it and like get a comfy turn 1 or get something else. I think this Ditto's all right. But for me, it doesn't do anything crazy either. It has goo for 10 though. I think that's funny. EV, search for up to 3 Pokemon different types put into your hand. So this is like setting up for an evolution style deck. But then we have 3 Pokemon Vaporeon, Jolteon and Flareon. The first attacks are not that good. They're not like awful. So Vaporeon does 30 heal 30. Flareon does 30 on a coin flip discard energy, and Jolteon is 30 snipe, which are all fine, but nothing like that strong. Nothing I'd say good enough for an evolution box. But then they have either Fighting Whirlpool, Fighting Lightning, or Fighting Inferno 90, and if they're a V or EX, it does 180. This is like Cerulege, except it's weaker by 20, by 10 in each section. So 180 is okay, and then you have this weakness coverage. But water and fire weakness aren't that good to hit, and lightning weakness is okay to hit. I think the Jolteon's pretty all right. I think the Vaporeon is not very good, and I don't think the Flareon's particularly good either. But I think the Jolteon's pretty good, and I think it's cool. I think Evolution Box is almost there, but you need a few more pieces to be able to play it. Porygon, you change your opponent's weakness until it leaves it active, but I don't know. I don't think this Porygon is. I feel like they'll just like switch, or they'll like I don't know. It would be better just to hit them once. Yeah. So Ammonite. Wait. It says the amount of weakness doesn't change. But then like dragon types don't have any weakness. So how's this work with dragon Pokemon? And you can make him what? I'm not really sure how this Pokemon works with dragon Pokemon, but we'll find out. Ammonite, return energy. That's not awful. Then Amistar, I mean, the Omnite's not good, but it's interesting effect. Not like the worst for pre-evolution. Amistar is also in the active. Your opponent can't retreat. And it does 90, and then 30 to 2 your opponent's bench. I guess this isn't awful, but it's just worse than Block Snorlax, I think. So I don't see any reason to play it. Maybe an orbital control, but even then, Block Snorlax is probably better. Then Kabutops apply weaknesses 4 times instead. That's interesting with like Kecleon, but I'm not so sure about this. Kabutops, Porygon, Kecleon, new deck. Sounds kind of sketchy. Aerodactyl. Oh, they all evolve from different fossils as well, which I'm not a big fan of, but you know, Helix fossil and all that. So, Aerodactyl Degeneration Arc, everyone's favorite story arc. 100, if they're evolve, you devolve them. That's actually okay. Stage 1 Zoroark, this is pretty good. I think this, I mean, it just KOs, KOs your opponents. Like EXs, evolved EXs, just pretty much all the time. So this is okay against like Gardevoir and stuff. I don't hate this Aerodactyl. I actually think it's very solid in Zoroark box. So I think this Aerodactyl is a nice inclusion. It will become a staple in Zoroark box. Snorlax now. Obviously, if you devolve an EX to a single prize, you'll only get 1 prize though. Snorlax, okay, you can put 2 leftovers from your discard pile into your hand every turn, which is really nice with Electrode. Leftovers is a tool. We'll talk about leftovers later, but all that matters for the Snorlax is that you recover them. I think the leftovers is a good card, but I think Snorlax recovering them, it has natural synergy with not Patchy, but more so the Electrode that discards tools from play. Now, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. Oh, they have the energy type, their respective energy type. They have free retreat. Articuno does 110 and 10 to each opponent's bench. That's not good. We've seen a number of better Articunos. Zapdos does 120 and 90 to 20 opponent's bench. That's like with damage on it. That's pretty strong, actually. 3 lightning, awkward, but this in Flaffy is good. I don't know. I think the Zapdos is interesting. I've heard talk of it. I don't know if it has synergy with other lightning stuff, but I don't hate it either. I'm sure it'll see some play. But I'm like thinking through the numbers, and you know, you kind of want to be able to hit. It's like a 2-shotting one where you finish stuff off and then do damage to the active. Also, it has synergy with like Hawlucha, but I don't know. I'm not a massive fan of the Zapdos, but it is certainly playable. And then Moltres, 120 on your opponent's bench, not awful. This is an okay. It's certainly an okay inclusion Firebox. Also because you can do, if you have any Fire Energy in play, you do Arm Rouge, accelerate it to Moltres, which you'll send up, and then that can retreat for free, then move the energy off of Moltres to something else. I think this is actually a very good inclusion in Firebox, and we'll see lots of play. Dratini, Dragonite, and Dragonite. So this is the new Dragonite. Your Pokemon play have no retreat. Wow. Okay, that's a very strong ability. That being said, this Dragonite is not amazing, so I don't think this will see play. Like, because it's a stage 2, right? It's a very good ability, but like the attack's bad. 180 for 2 is not awful, but you really want to be able to like not have this as a stage 2. You could play it. There's a Metagross with this ability, and it didn't see much play. You could use an Orbeetle, but again, kind of sketchy. Mewtwo, 20, return the same amount of damage that you've taken. I think we've seen other cards like this in Standard. Maybe not. Maybe this is the Mewtwo is like the only one I'm thinking of, but I think it's okay. But like with Double Target, you're not doing any damage, which I don't like. Now we get to Mew EX. This card's apparently insane. Draw till you have 3 in hand. It's free retreat. 180 HP is low. Oh, I thought it was like 120 HP. Okay, it's 180. That's not that bad. And the genome hacking for 3 colors. Choose one of your opponent's active attacks and uses this attack. I don't know. It's an all-right draw engine, pivot, and also an attacker. I think it has enough versatility to see play. Apparently, it's seeing a ton of play in Japan. I'm not a massive fan of this card, though. Big Balloon Stage 2s have free retreat. Yeah, it's okay. I don't hate this card, but like in Stage 2, like there's Stage 2s, right? I don't know what you play. You could play this in Gardevoir. You could play this in Excalibur, but you know, it's like a bit too specific in my opinion. Bill's Transfer, the top 8 cards of your deck, and put any Pokemon you find there into your hand. And this is okay, certainly, but it's not great. Cycling Road, discarding a basic energy from your hand to draw a card. This is okay in Flaffy, I guess, but I'd probably rather play Stormy Mountains. It's like a baby Brady Greninja, which doesn't draw that much to begin with, so I think Cycling Road might see a little bit of play here and there, but it's not great. If you want energy in the discard, it's very good, but like Flaffy doesn't really have a massive problem with that, as far as I know. And you have other stamps you want. These help draw 2 and look your face down prizes. I'm sure people are gonna love this, but to me, I've never found it. This is, I'd say, worse, noticeably worse than Town Map, which just looks at them as an item. And I didn't like Town Map, so I don't like this guide. But you know, I think other people might. Energy Seal, flip a coin. If heads, accelerate a basic energy from discard to one of your bench Pokemon. This is a very similar to. I was like, isn't that Turbo Patch? It's not Turbo Patch, but it's similar. It's okay. I don't hate it, but I'll hate playing with it. I think it's a good card. It's inconsistent though, so yeah, I don't know. Play this if you want, but know that you're gonna get tilted sometimes. Okay, Erica's Invitation. This has synergy with something as Venonat maybe. I don't know. But oh no, Tangela. Your opponent reveals their hand, put a basic you find there into their bench, then switch it into the active. So it's like Manaphy plus Boss together, which is nice, but you never know if you're gonna hit it or not, probably. So I think Erica's Invitation's like okay. Yeah, but I'd rather just Manaphy Boss. It feels a bit more consistent, but I don't hate Erica's Invitation. It will see play. I'm pretty sure. Giovanni's Charisma, put an energy. Okay, this isn't super good. There are some other cards. I think it was Rhyhorn or Rhydon, as well as Persian, which has synergy with this. Persian searched for it, but Giovanni's Charisma, put an energy, attach this Pokemon, attach to your opponent's active into their hand, and then attach energy from your hand to your active. This can do special energy as well. This is special energy acceleration. And generally, your opponent will have energy on their active, so it's a disruption plus acceleration. I think Giovanni's Charisma is like so insanely broken. Energy disruption isn't amazing right now, and that's the only thing keeping this in check. But I think Giovanni's Charisma is possibly the best card in the set. I think this card is like so insanely good. It just does so much. It's like all in one. I mean, it doesn't draw, which is a downside. Obviously, it's a noticeable downside, but there are some solid engines right now that are draw engines, not search engines. They're draw engines. I think Giovanni's Charisma will be a very, very good card in the format. I don't know exactly what to be played in, right? So if I knew that better, I think like it would be more clear to me that this is like clearly an amazing card, but I still think it's a pretty broken card. Leftovers at the end of your turn. If this Pokemon is in the active field, 20 from it. This is nice. It's a lot of healing, right? Maybe it's not like a ton at once, but over time it's a lot. And it's better. You compare it to like Citrus Berry, which is heal 30 once. Leftovers is drastically better. I mean, Citrus Berry didn't see any play as far as I know. But like Emergency Jelly sees play, but that's only one-time healing, but it's a lot more. I think Leftovers is good on like big tanky decks, which aren't like super common right now because there's stuff like Chien-Pao, Gardevoir, and other types of one-shotting decks. Even Rayquaza is floating around, but yeah, I think Leftovers is a very solid card, and you can recover it with Snorlax, so it's gonna see play in tool drop decks. Old Emerald Fossil, can't be affected by special conditions. Also, none of them can be affected by special conditions, but it's immune to abilities. It evolves into Aerodactyl, but I'm not gonna mention that too much. Old Dome Fossil, it takes 30 less. And these act as Pokemon, but they're items, they're fossils. And Old Helix Fossil, if it's in the active, your opponent can't play any stadiums. This is interesting. I think these cards are really neat. They have their own identity. Also, their art's really cool. I think these are interesting as like control cards. They're weird. I don't know what to think about them, but they piqued my interest. But they're not that strong either on their own. They can't like attack, but they're cool. And then we see, and it says what they evolve into. That's kind of cool. Rigid Band, Stage 1, takes 30 less from opponent's Pokemon. This is actually really good with Whimsicott, Oinkologne, whatever. It's a very solid card. Safety Goggles. Oh, this Pokemon, the basic this card is attached to has no weakness. So this is good in, I don't know, most of the basics don't have that much HP. It's okay in Chien-Pao, but I don't know. There's like the new Scizor and there's the old Scizor, which is okay. Like Zoroark attackers for metal. The ones in Zoroark, the ones in Reversal. Yeah, I don't know. I think Safety Goggles is like a cool card, but I can't think of anything I would see playing right now. If it was like Tag Team Rare, this would be amazing. Snatch Arm, apparently, okay, this is the last card. Apparently, people love Snatch Arm and Mew VMAX, but your opponent reveals a hand, choose a Pokemon you find there, and put it on the bottom of their deck. This is an annoying disruption. Apparently, it's broken in Mew VMAX, but I don't know why. I don't think this card's that good. I mentioned this in another video where like everyone was playing this in Mew VMAX. If someone can tell me why it's broken, I'd love to hear that. It's cool. It's gonna be like not fun to play against. In my opinion, it's not that good though. But I'm interested in hearing what your thoughts are on this set. I think it's a very solid set for, especially for a mini set. It's very good. And there's some awesome new archetypes to play from this, as well as some new support Pokemon, some fun like ideas. But I hope you enjoyed. As always, I'm excited to see you next time.